G'day guys, welcome back to SuperCoach for DR. I don't know how you're feeling, but I am feeling bloody nervous at the moment. We're only 10 days out before the start of the season, and usually at this stage I would have had most of my team locked away, maybe a couple that I'm tossing and turning between, but in 2021 it feels like I am all over the shop, and I must admit I still haven't even watched all the preseason games. There's still a couple that I need to catch up on, and when I do, I'll be giving my thoughts and sharing my opinions with my good mate John from Spiller SuperCoach in our new SuperCoach podcast, SuperCoach Swordplay. So we have created a new YouTube channel dedicated purely to our new podcast. I'll still have my own channel, Spills will still have his own channel, but hopefully we can get together within the next few days and put the first installment on there. So I will put the link down below and feel free to check that out. But for today's video, we are focusing on the 2021 loopholes and going to do a little bit of a loophole analysis. So we'll very quickly talk about what a loophole is for those beginners. That will take me about 30 to 40 seconds hopefully. After that, we'll then talk about what I look for in a good loophole. So what do we look for when we are selecting one of these blokes? We'll then take a really close look at the fixture for the first 6 weeks, look at which teams have those friendly draws, and then I'll talk about who I am personally looking to use as my loophole this year. So to start off with, what is a loophole? It is basically a non-playing player that we can use strategically in our sides, usually to take advantage of the vice captaincy loophole. So to talk about this really quick, basically what we do is we allocate a player as our vice captain, usually someone that's got an early game. Let's just say it's Lockie Neal. He gets 150 points. We want that score doubled because we know that our captain scores double. So what I'll do is I'll get my loophole on field, put the captaincy on that loophole, knowing that he's not going to play. Obviously, if my captain doesn't play, then I got my vice captain score doubled. Making sure though, whoever I take off field, I'll put the emergency on. So that's the main way to use it. The second way you can use it is to take advantage of a really nice emergency score. So let's pretend that James Rowe gets an 85, kicks 4 goals. You've got him in as the emergency, and you really want that score on field because some of the rookies may be a little bit dodgy this year. If you've got a forward line loophole, you can actually put them on field, making sure that you've obviously already got the emergency on row, and that means that you'll get the 0 for that player on field, and that will be replaced by your emergency score, in this example being James Rowe. So that's basically how we use our loophole. Now, what do I personally look for in a loophole? There are 4 main things, and I think these things are ultra important. So the first thing is that they must have a friendly fixture. If they've got Thursday, Friday night games, that's not friendly for a loophole. We want them to have the majority of Saturday night and Sunday games. The second thing, and this is an obvious one, they must be a non-playing player. A playing loophole is no good to us. They're technically not even a loophole. So whoever is selecting as a loophole must not be playing from week to week if possible. The next thing is that we need to get them at a cheap price. 102k is obviously ideal. I would not go anything over 123k. If you're going over that for your loophole, just get one of these cheaper blokes and you're spending too much. And the next thing is that it's ultra handy to have DPP status. So maybe a defensive mid, a mid forward. What I usually do, I keep it pretty simple. I get a ruck forward as my R3, but this year we've obviously got Flynn, and the bloke that I was looking to get there, Tracy, well, he's probably going to be playing in some of the early rounds this year, so he'll be useless as an actual loophole. Hey, maybe a good F8 though, I'm not too sure. And the other bloke that was going to be really handy in my side was a Rowan Marshall, that I could sort of flick with him if needed as well. But that's not going to happen at this stage because Marshall is not playing in round 1 and Tracy may be playing in round 1, so it simply doesn't work. Onto the fixture analysis. So you can see here that there are some color codes. I'll go through them in a minute. But look, before I get into this, it is extremely important to make sure that your loophole has a friendly fixture. If you see those games in red there on the Thursday, Friday night, they are absolutely terrible because, well, on the Thursday night, obviously you can't even use them as a loophole, and most likely on the Friday night, you won't really have much use for them as a loophole option either. So the teams that really stand out there for me anyway are Collingwood. You got 2 Thursday, 2 Friday night games there, absolutely terrible. The 1 Saturday night game and then the 1 Sunday game too. You got Richmond as well, 2 Thursday night games, a 1 Friday night game, 1 Saturday game 1. So sort of 4 games within the first 3 columns there. Then you've got your Saturday night and your Sunday game 1. And then you've got the Doggies as well, which surprisingly, they've got 3 Friday night games out of the first 6 weeks. So then that's not ideal. And then you've got 2 Saturday game 1. So 5 out of their first 6 weeks will be completed after the first game on Saturday. So certainly not ideal for a loophole whatsoever there. And then I've got some teams in green. So you've got North. They've got the 1 Friday night game. That's not great. But then you go all the way 2 on Saturday night, 2 on Sunday game 1, and then even have a Sunday night game thrown in there as well, which is nice. And then you got Freo. I've got them as probably the second best loophole option team. You got the first game they come up is the Saturday game 1. Then you got 1 Saturday night, 2 Sunday game 1, and 2 Sunday night, which is absolutely terrific. And then take a look at Hawthorn here. So you can see black for the first 4 columns. No Thursday, Friday night games. No Saturday game 1 or game 2. They have the 1 Saturday night. And then have a look at this. 1 on Sunday game 1. 2 of the Sunday 2 games. 1 on Sunday night. And then just for good measure, they've also thrown them another Monday night game. So looking at the data here, Hawthorn is the team with the friendliest fixture in the first 6 weeks for your loopholes. Alright, so let's rate some of the loophole options for this year. The first bloke got here is Anthony Scott from the Dogs, 102k mid forward. So the first thing we look at is a friendly fixture. Absolutely not. Unfortunately, the Dogs play a lot of early game. We did see a lot of red there, so that basically rules him out from the start. The other thing there, I've got a non-playing player. It's a question mark for me because I could actually see him playing round 1. I'm not too sure about that, but I think he's certainly someone that's in the mix anyway. And DPP status, get a tick for that. So I have given him 3 ticks for the price because 102k you get 3, 117 is 2, and then 1 for 123k. Anything over that, and I haven't included anyone over that, but you obviously get no ticks at all. But for me, Scott is a 4 out of 10. Not a good option at this stage, I don't think, for a loophole. Next, we've got Isaac Chugg, who I know a lot of us are running in the pre-season. There was talk of him maybe getting an early game. I don't think that that's going to happen now. But again, that friendly fixture, that's the issue. Collingwood also play a lot of early games. Look, a non-playing player, I've got 1 tick there because there has been talk about that. Maybe he does come in if Collingwood get a few more injuries. I'm not too sure because I wouldn't exactly rule him out from playing anyway. So 1 tick there. Cheap price, 3 ticks, 102k, and DPP status. So I give him a 5 out of 10. On to Bailey Laurie now. So this guy was a little bit harder to analyse, but a friendly fixture, I've given him 2 ticks there. A non-playing player, I've given him 1 tick because I think that he may come in at some stage during the season, but I don't think that he's going to be getting early games. A cheap price, well, he's 117k, so I'm not going to give him 3 ticks there. Ideally, you want a 102k player. And then DPP status, he's got a tick there, so a 6 out of 10 for Laurie. Next one is Josh Treacy. So this bloke would have been my ideal loophole for this year. And I must say as well, I love having a loophole in the ruck. So I love having a ruck forward. My plan this year was to have Treacy's at R3 loophole and then Big Rowan Marshall in the forward line there. But given the fact that Marshall's gone, we can't get him. And Treacy may be actually getting early games. And we do have a bit of a gem there in Flynn as well. And even Meek as well from Freo as well. So I don't think we can really run with a loophole in our rucks like I normally would. The reason why I prefer that is because it's so easy and simple. You know, you put your loophole on field, just put the emergency on your cap, on the other ruckman, easy done. So yeah, for me, that's the best way usually. But this year, I don't think we can do that, given the fact we've got a couple of good options there at R3. But for Treacy, a really friendly fixture, 3 ticks for him there. A non-playing player, I've got the sad face there because he would have been a great option, but I think that he could get early games, so no ticks there. Cheap price, 3 ticks for that, and obviously has his DPP status, so 7 out of 10 for him. But the big issue here, obviously, is that I don't think he'll be a non-playing player at the start. Next one, we've got Charlie Comben. I was sort of having a look at him now. I think that he has a bit of a long-term injury. So when it comes to a non-playing player, I've actually given him 2 ticks for that one there. North actually have a really friendly fixture, though, 3 ticks for that one there. A cheap price, only 1 tick, because we are playing 123,900. That's one thing that really, really puts me off with this loophole in particular, is the fact that you could be getting a loophole for 21k cheaper, and there's a lot that you can do with 20k, I think, in the preseason. And DPP status, he gets a tick there as well. But unfortunately, I know for me, if I had Combat as my loophole, I couldn't really utilise him as well as I could if I did have maybe a playing R3 with DPP status also. Because I think most of us run with Flynn, you can't really chop and change Combat with anyone. So a 7 out of 10 for Charlie Combat for me, but a good friendly fixture, and don't think that he'll play. So they're 2 key points that I suppose is working on his side there. On to the next one. Fife. Now it's A5, Aiden Fife. Not Nat Fife, so don't think I'm going crazy talking about Fife as a loophole, but a friendly fixture for him. I've given him 2 ticks there. Doesn't have the friendliest of fixtures, but he does have a few late games, which is okay. A non-playing player, I've given him 2 ticks there. I don't think that he plays this year. Look, who knows? He could make me look silly, but I don't think that he plays this year, so I've given him 2 ticks for that. 3 ticks, 102k there, and DPP status, I'm actually thinking of possibly running Fife and Laird as a bit of a loop this year anyway, given the fact they've both got defensive mid status. So an 8 out of 10 for me, the second best option in my opinion. The best option, I think anyway, and look, I'll talk about what I'm doing in a minute, but the best option by this rating and this scale anyway, in my opinion, is Jack Saunders from Hawthorn. So 102k mid. He's got a really, really friendly fixture, as we saw before. 3 ticks for that. A non-playing player, I don't think that he plays this year. Again, could be wrong, but I've given him 2 ticks there. Cheap price, 3 ticks for 102k. And obviously that DPP status. A mid-forward, I think, can be really, really handy because I know that many of us are running with some of these mid-forward rookies as it is. And, you look in your forward line, Dunkley, Danger, who's another one, Dusty. 3 really, popular premium picks. They've all got that mid-forward status as well. So you can use him very strategically, I think, Saunders anyway. So for me, he's a 9 out of 10, probably the best rookie to have as your loophole this year, according to my ratings anyway. So that brings me on to what am I going to do? Well, I've narrowed it down to those 2 top options in Saunders and Fife. If I do run with Laird at M5, then my loophole will be Fife. And the other thing that you've got to consider as well is the fact that we've got a real lack of defensive rookies. So it sort of makes sense in a way, because of that lack of depth there, to use one of those spots, obviously your D8, as your loophole option. But the important thing is to try to match them up, if you can, with another player that's got some DPP. So Fife, it could be someone like Rory Laird, even someone like a Jordan Clark. They're just 2 names off the top of my head. I'm sure there are other players that you may look to go with there. I don't think there's a heap of popular options, to be quite honest, but there certainly are options there. So that's one thing that I'm really looking to do there. Look, his fixture's okay, but it's not the best, and it's certainly nothing like we see there with Saunders. So I may go with Saunders. He's, by my ratings, as I've said a couple of times already, the best option in my opinion. Hawthorn have so many of those late games. I don't think that he plays, and given the fact he's got that mid-forward DPP status, I think that's probably the most friendly status to have this year. But in saying that, I'm a big believer that we will have a real lack of defensive rookies, and I think it will be a really good idea to look to have your loophole down there. So in my opinion, the best loophole option for my personal situation anyway is going to be Fife. He's cheap. He hasn't got the best fixture, but I've worked out, I've looked when my other premiums are playing, and I think that I can always get a decent captaincy and vice-captaincy option when I go with Fife. So it's not going to hurt me too much, I think, fixture-wise. I don't think he plays, as I said, and offers me a lot of flexibility because I've locked in Laird to my side. It's whether or not I have him in the midfield or I have him in the defence. So, look, some of my thoughts, guys. Hope that you enjoyed the video. I will be out again soon with a bit of a JLT late discussion. The reason why I haven't put it out already is that I still haven't got to a couple of the games. And one thing I haven't done in the last week or two is I haven't really, listened to any podcast, looked at anyone else's videos. And the reason for that is because I want to be able to make my own opinion. I don't want to just look at the numbers, listen to what other people have to say. I want to actually watch the game myself and make some of my own judgments. And certainly after watch the games, I'll be really keen to get into everyone else's content as well. But I'm making, conceited effort not to do that at this stage. So anyway, I will see you soon, guys, with that JLT recap. Still haven't got the Brisbane Lions one out there. It is all done, but it's not looking like that's going to be ready. So I may just do a quick version of that. And I'll also most likely do another team reveal before the start of the season also. There'll be a couple of videos also thrown in there. I'm going to try to go nuts in the next 10 days before the start of the season. So hope all is well, guys. Let me know which loophole you're running with this year, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Cheers, bye.